There is a new campaign launched by a lingerie brand called Strong is Beautiful, where they have hired a team of female rugby players to model their lingerie while playing rugby together. And this is a way that they have said they want to encourage teenage girls to get into sports. Because they cited the statistic that 64% of girls over the age of 13 drop out of sports due to body image issues, a statistic derived from Women in Sports research. So they use this to launch their campaign. Let's take a look at some of the images here. This is the rugby team out on the field in underwear because it's very empowering. It's very empowering. And here's what they said. We want to celebrate and normalize the beauty of strong and powerful female bodies. Bodies that have historically been ignored by the fashion industry and stigmatized by society. Our hashtag Strong is Beautiful campaign was born out of the fact that girls give up sports more readily than boys, partly because society does not equate the look of a strong female body with being beautiful or feminine. If young women do not equate strength with feminine beauty, it's a problem that goes far beyond sports.
There are like multiple MMA women who have very successful OnlyFans, so press X to doubt.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, they were trying to appeal to feminists with this campaign, but the feminists didn't take to it.
If I have to choose between fat is beautiful and strong is beautiful, I'm taking strong is beautiful every time.
Right, but I would say, you know, it's not considered conventionally attractive for women to be buff and jacked and huge. That's just never going to be considered the beauty standard.
That's just more of the culture, our culture's decision to always try to take what society just at a base level doesn't consider traditionally attractive and force it through. Certainly that doesn't mean that it's not to some people. There are plenty of people who would understand that the term muscle mommy is a thing for a reason and would be perfectly happy with looking at this, but they can't just accept that niche is niche.
So here were some of the responses from feminists who were very offended by the campaign. One said, "This is a terrible move. This is exactly what young girls do not need to see. Instead of empowering women in sports, we once again see this profit the male gaze and continue the objectification and sexualization of the female body. Young girls are dropping out of sports early. Concerns over body image and appearance are one of the reasons. So well done bringing the focus back to the body. How about remove the appearance lens altogether?"
You have to turn it around on them. They say, well, no, that's not why you tell me that you dress this way. You tell me that you do it for yourself.
Another one said, "This is terrible. This is so wrong for girls. As a martial artist, school owner, and female, this is totally the wrong campaign. You have put women in their underwear to show girls they can be feminine and beautiful. The association of the word beautiful as a reason to get into sports is absolutely feeding into the problem we have with girls doing sports. You've also wrongly mentioned that women in sports are part of this, which they've publicly said they are not, and totally disagree with all of it." That's the organization that studied the phenomenon of girls dropping out of sports. I mean, also, I think the biggest reason why girls over 13 would drop out of sports is because they can't get lucrative careers out of continuing.
Look, that's not everybody who plays sports into high school does so thinking, ever expecting to go pro.
Sure, but that's just the fact of the matter is male athletes are much more likely than female athletes to
now if you want to make that comparison
doing it
about
professionally.
Scholarships, that might be there's still plenty of scholarships and stuff like that.
But as long as we're talking about like the professional level, but I guess that feminists just think that this is further objectifying women. Another one said, my issue with...
Nick C says, wrong, women have tons of scholarships available. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are tons of scholarships available.
Right.
But there are not as many professional opportunities.
Right, which is where the complaints from people like Megan Rapinoe come in.
And also, I was going to point out
the WNBA.
I was going to point out, and that also depends on the industry and whether we're talking about biological males competing in women's sports, which is becoming more and more prevalent.
I know, like my bare minimum thought about this campaign was like, wow, at least they're women.
Yep.
But another
this
one
reminded
said,
me of something that's very 90s. Honestly,
you think?
This whole thing is very 90s. It's very early 2000s. I was actually kind of shocked
all of the like campaigns for like tampons that are like throw like a girl or whatever. Like that's a very 2015 feminist talking point. But yeah, another criticism said, my issue with the Strong is Beautiful campaign is we are still telling women that being beautiful is the most important thing, then trying to widen the definition of beautiful so it applies more. Wouldn't it be better to celebrate strong because it's strong? But here's the thing. It's objectively more important for women to be beautiful than strong. Is that like really offensive to say that?
In modern culture, yes, that would be
that's
considered
just
offensive
never.
to say.
That's never going to change. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be celebrated for women to accomplish things in sports, but it's more important for women to care about being beautiful than being physically strong.
You're never going to get a mainstream take that says that these days because it correlates too much to attraction to men.
Right. And it's like, this reminded me of when Victoria's Secret hired Megan Rapinoe to model their lingerie. And it was, you know, them deciding we're going to show women what women want. So here are those horrible photos of Megan Rapinoe modeling for Victoria's Secret because, you know, we have to break glass ceilings. And then I also saw another video kind of related to this of a bunch of female athletes. And there was some discourse about whether men find this attractive. Definitely there are some men that do, but if we're talking about what is conventionally attractive, no. Like, I mean, look at Victoria's Secret models from the 2000s if you want to know what is attractive to men. They're super tall, lean women with big boobs. Or at least that's how it was in the 2000s. Yeah. But this person claimed, y'all claim you want D1 babies but scoff at D1 mamas. If these women are that repulsive to you, maybe calling other men gay is throwing stones in glass houses. Your sons will not be able to open their own pickle jars and you'll have only yourselves to blame.
Okay.
I don't think it's gay to find muscular women attractive. It's just not the norm.
Yes, that's a pretty consistent take that people say is like, that makes no sense. It's just a specific body type that appeals to specific people. Yeah. Certainly men who actually keep themselves in shape and work out more would probably lean more towards it. And a dude who's soft is going to be like, no, not so much, because he doesn't want a girlfriend who can turn him upside down and shake him out for change.
And by the way, I mean, I think this campaign would not have gotten any hate if it were focused on obese women.
Of course not. No, not at all.
But because they decided to focus on women
because
who actually
even kind of appeals to a specific type of man rather than obesity, which doesn't appeal to any men.
Right. We were talking about like feminist frigidity.
Yeah.
Before we were on air.
As explained, that's still a very real thing. So all of it is framed through the lens of what is appealing to men. So it's okay to show beautiful women if it's the 90s. Now, anytime you do that, it's kind of like on the episode of The Acolyte last night. You get to see Darth Gimp mask with no clothes on because that's appealing to women, which is weird because the show is made by Leslie Headland, who is gay.
Right.
So you'd think that they would be appealing to women through that, but feminism runs headlong into the fact that she's gay, and the feminism wins out.
So she's catering to a very specific female gaze.
Yes.
That is vaguely.
Correct. There's going to be no shot of May or OSHA that's shown as a thirst trap. That will never happen.
Right.
It's not allowed.
So I guess that's why people felt so offended by this. They felt it was in poor taste because
it appeals to men.
Certain
men, even just
specific subset of men might find muscular women attractive. Therefore, we cannot show them as beautiful.
And to this in further down the corner in the arts is the discussion about the uglification of women in games and art and things like that. All of these things, anything that appeals to men, anything that is traditionally beautiful by Western standards must be torn down and stigmatized for the sake of the revolution.
Which is funny because the women in this campaign strongly resemble a physique like Abby from The Last of Us, which was roundly criticized.
The Marxists will have none of it. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.